Exodus chapter 4, verse 10 through 12. But Moses pleaded with the Lord. Oh, Lord, I'm not very good with words. I never have been, and I'm not now. Even though you have spoken to me, I get tongue-tied and my words get tangled. Then the Lord asked Moses, this is the funny part, who makes a person's mouth? Who decides whether a people speak or do not speak, hear or do not hear, see or do not see? Is it not I, the Lord? Is it not I, the Lord? In other words, God's saying, hey, Moses, do you think I'm that stupid that I don't know you get tongue-tied? I made you. I gave you your tongue. I know all about you. I know you inside and out. I know you from top to bottom. I know what you can do. I know what you can't do. I'm not stupid. Stop acting like I'm stupid, Moses. That's why I laugh. Because we think we're telling God something he doesn't already know, and God already knows everything. If you got some excuse for not doing what God wants you to do, don't you know God knows it's just a stupid excuse? It's just an excuse, and God can see through it. God understands what's going on. So he says to Moses in verse 12, now go. I will be with you as you speak, and I will instruct you in what to say. Now what's happening here is these excuses are now really intensifying. In fact, he starts out by saying in these verses, Moses just protested. But now he's saying, Moses pleaded. In other words, his fear is coming closer and closer and closer to, uh-oh, I've got to do something, and I don't know what to do. So God helps relieve his fears. God says, I've got a plan. I'm going to be with you, and I'm going to tell you what to say. I'm going to tell you how to say it, and I'm going to tell you who to say it to. So don't worry about your tongue. I've got you covered. I've got a plan that's going to work. And you see, anytime you have fear in your life, it's going to set you back. That's why we always need to have faith in God to be able to come back. And I want to illustrate that for you this morning. So I brought with me a couple of items that I want you to think about. Because all of us experience fear in our life, don't we? Have you ever experienced fear? You ever been really afraid of something? See, when we were kids and we got afraid, we relied on various things to comfort us. Sometimes, as kids, we'd have dolls or we'd have this stuffed toy, and we'd hold it close to us and it'd make us feel much better. And we wouldn't feel afraid. We feel more, comforted, more secure because we had the toy. Or sometimes we used what we called security blankets. Anybody have a security blanket when you were a kid? You have these security blankets that you carry around with you, and it's just comforting to have it with you. As a kid, that's what we relied on, our little doll, our little security blanket, to make us feel better, take away the fear that we had. But as adults, we always have fear. Just because you're no longer a kid doesn't mean you've gotten rid of all your fears. You still have fear. But it's kind of embarrassing as an adult to walk around with a doll or with a security blanket. It's kind of embarrassing to do that. So what do? We go to other things for our comfort, like Southern Comfort. Well, this isn't Southern Comfort, but you get the idea. We go to alcohol, and that makes us feel better, right? Or we go to drugs. We take pills, we pop pills, we take drugs as adults because we don't want to carry the doll, we don't want the security blanket So we're going to act like an adult, and I'll just drink away my fears, and I'll just take drugs to get rid of my fears. And what happens? We get all messed up, don't we? Even worse. It becomes even worse. And what happens to all these things? My wife and I, we gave our son a stuffed toy, and it got all raggedy. You ever given your children one of these toys, a stuffed doll or something? And over the years, it gets dirty, eyeballs are falling out, nose is bent over, things are just not working right. So she looked at it and she said, I got to throw that in the washing machine. She threw it in the washing machine and it disintegrated. And David has been in therapy all his life because of that. He saw the doll come out, the stuffed toy come out, and he looked at that and he started screaming. Literally, he started screaming. Eyeballs were missing, changed color, it was all distorted looking, like, how stuff gets all bunched up, inside? It just like messed with him. Same happens with the security blanket, right? It doesn't last. What happens to the booze and the drugs? You run out. You don't have it anymore. That's why we all need something more. We need faith in God. We need God who's going to be there all the time. You can throw God in the washing machine. He comes out perfectly all right. It's not like the doll, right? He's going to make it. You can trust God. You can have faith in God. You can rely on God. And that's who is able to give us real security, real comfort, who can really take away our fears. And that's what Moses did. He went through all this stuff in his life, but in the end, he put his faith in God. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 27 says, because of his faith, Moses didn't let anything stop him. That's because he saw the God who can't be seen. I want you to circle this phrase. Moses didn't let anything stop him. Say that out loud with me. Moses didn't let anything stop him. At 80 years old, Moses experiences one of the greatest comebacks and literally goes back to Egypt and frees Israel from 400 years of Egyptian slavery. That's quite a comeback, folks. And what that tells me is this. You might think you're too old for a comeback, but you aren't. You say, well, I'm 80, I'm 90 years old, I'm almost 100 years old. I don't care how old you are. It's never too late for a comeback when you put your faith in God. And because of the faith of Moses, it says he didn't let anything stop him from doing what God wanted him to do. I mean, think about what Moses would have missed out on if he didn't have faith. He wouldn't have been there when the Red Sea parted. He wouldn't have been there to be able to see the Shekinah glory of God guiding Israel across the wilderness. He wouldn't have been there to see the manna out on the ground. He wouldn't have been there for lots of things, and he would have missed out on so many great blessings. And this is what people are missing out on today because they don't have faith in God. They are missing out on God's blessings right now, this moment, because they are not putting their faith in God. So here's the question. What's stopping you from doing what God wants? What's stopping you from coming back to church? What's stopping you from getting into a small group? What's stopping you from getting into a ministry? What's stopping you from being baptized or joining this church? What's stopping you from being saved and accepting Jesus Christ? What excuse are you using right now? See, I got to say it to you, I am so thankful that Jesus Christ did not use some excuse to stay at home. He could have. Would have been very easy. But he didn't. Instead, he went to the cross. If he had made some excuse, you and I wouldn't even be here today. we wouldn't even be saved today. We wouldn't even be able to get into heaven today. Thank God Jesus didn't use some excuse.